Imagine an incredible event that shocks the very basis of women's basketball. It's a moment that has the whole WNBA on edge. Now imagine this. Caitlin Clark, the rising star who has taken the basketball world by storm, is in the thick of it all. She's recognized for her amazing shooting range, bold leadership on the floor, and unrivaled basketball IQ. But what if I told you that something really startling occurred, and the Indiana Fever delivered a bombshell that sent shockwaves across the WNBA?
Select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
Yes, you heard it correctly. Caitlin Clark, a player comparable to Stephen Curry for her deep-range shooting and playmaking talents, recently went through an unexpected event. The Indiana Fever, a club renowned for its rebuilding efforts, has made a surprising move involving Clark, which is upending the WNBA world. What precisely is the bombshell? What impact did it have on Caitlin Clark's career, as well as the whole league? Let's plunge in and discover this surprising discovery.
The podium, she is officially a member of the Indiana Fever after as decorated a collegiate career as we...
Before we get to the shocking news, let's examine how Caitlin Clark rose to become one of basketball's best-known players.
You come in and drop 35 points. What was different for you today?
Once you see the ball go through the basket a little bit, like I still had a few in and outs, I'm like, man, how's it not going?
Caitlin Clark's rise to basketball superstardom began long before she was in the WNBA limelight. Clark, who was born and reared in West Des Moines, Iowa, rapidly established herself as one of the country's leading high school basketball scorers. Her skill was evident from an early age, and her competitive nature motivated her to push the limits on the court.
Here's Clark with it. Bentley inside against the taller Mercedes Russell, and still...
Clark's choice to play collegiate basketball with the Iowa Hawkeyes would permanently alter her professional direction. She made an instant impression on the college basketball scene. Caitlin Clark immediately rose to prominence in the world of women's basketball after leading the country in scoring, assists, and three-pointers while at Iowa. Her long-range shooting, ball-handling abilities, and court vision drew comparisons to NBA luminaries such as Stephen Curry.
Second, because she got 2 in the first quarter against Connecticut.
However, Caitlin Clark's focus was on more than just individual statistics. She has an unparalleled desire to win and improve her team. Throughout her undergraduate career, she guided Iowa to multiple wins and received various awards, including All-American and Player of the Year nods. By the time she declared for the WNBA draft, she was widely regarded as one of the most promising prospects in recent memory.
Back Bentley. Here's Clark, a good look from 3. She got it! The first 3!
On the other side of the equation is the Indiana Fever, who has been working hard to rebuild its squad and return to postseason contention. The Indiana Fever has a rich history, but in recent years, the club has battled to regain its foothold. Following their WNBA title in 2012, the Fever had many seasons of transition, including roster changes, coaching changes, and a lack of consistent success on the floor. The squad fell to the bottom of the rankings, leaving fans and observers wondering how long it would take to turn things around. In recent seasons, however, the Fever have prioritized rebuilding via the draft and player development. With youthful talent and fresh leadership, the franchise has been attempting to lay the groundwork for future success. However, rebuilding in professional sports takes time, and the Fever realized they needed to make a bold move to speed their recovery.
Defensive Player of the Year, former MVP, leading the way for her team. Katie Douglas, remember, out with the sprained ankle, but Minnesota, they are...
Let's get to the core of the matter, the bombshell that shook the WNBA and the Indiana Fever's jaw-dropping action concerning Caitlin Clark. Following the completion of the WNBA draft, rumors circulated across the league about clubs making aggressive trade proposals and franchise-altering decisions. But no one anticipated the Indiana Fever to make one of the most significant transactions of the offseason, one involving Caitlin Clark.
Gave us a taste of where we wanted to be, and that's exactly the message that Chrissy iterated throughout the locker room, and that our coaches kind of iterated when they talked.
In an unexpected turn of events, the Indiana Fever made a trade proposal that astonished the league. The Fever, desperate to expedite their rebuilding process, allegedly offered a massive sum to obtain Caitlin Clark's WNBA draft rights. While Clark had yet to formally declare for the draft, her impending arrival in the league had every club scurrying to make their case.
The WNBA draft is this Monday, and Iowa star Caitlin Clark is expected to be the #1 pick. Here to comment is Caitlin Clark.
According to reports, the Fever's trade offer included numerous high-profile players, future draft selections, and even a large sum of money. The Fever's management staff anticipated that acquiring a generational talent such as Caitlin Clark would quickly convert their team into a playoff contender. Clark's ability to score from wherever on the floor, along with her leadership, might be the missing element the Fever needs to alter the course of their franchise.
Last night, what was going through your mind?
Honestly, I think it's super special, and sitting at the table, kind of obviously knowing where I'm going, you still get a little bit anxious when the commissioner walks out. And
the audacity of the offer caught the whole WNBA off guard. Teams throughout the league were taken aback, and fans couldn't believe such a large transaction was in the works. As a word of Indiana Fever's shocking action circulated, the WNBA world was stunned. Players, coaches, and commentators all discussed the possible consequences of this game-changing decision.
This year, the stakes are high yet again, with the Fever drafting Caitlin Clark as their first.
For other clubs, the prospect of the Fever obtaining Caitlin Clark was daunting. Clark's unique skill set made her a player capable of changing the WNBA's power dynamic on her own. Teams who had previously dominated anticipated that a rising Indiana Fever side coached by Clark would pose a substantial challenge to their position at the top. Several WNBA players resorted to social media to express their feelings. Some were excited about Caitlin Clark entering the league and boosting the competition. Others voiced alarm over the Fever's daring decision, questioning whether it would result in a new WNBA super team.
Grateful and lucky to have my family here, my friends over there, coaches up here, so I think just enjoying the moment. Like you said, I've dreamed of this moment since I was in second.
Fans too were split. Fever fans were ecstatic at the prospect of Clark joining their squad, thinking it would finally put a stop to the years of hardship. Meanwhile, supporters from other clubs were less excited, concerned that their teams might miss out on the opportunity to pick or trade for Clark. But what did Caitlin Clark say about all of this? After all, she was the driving force behind this seismic transformation in the WNBA.
I think the biggest thing is I always just believed in myself. I went to Iowa with the goal of taking us to the Final Four. We did it twice. We went to 2 national championships.
Caitlin Clark stayed unexpectedly quiet as rumors spread and the media frenzy increased. The generally loud and confident athlete seemed to be taking her time processing the situation. Some assumed that Clark was contemplating her choices and deciding if the Indiana Fever was the best match for her career. Others questioned whether she had been taken off guard by the Fever's daring move. Clark kept her remarks to the press minimal, stating just, "I'm focused on improving my game and preparing for the next stage of my basketball journey. The rest will take care of itself." While her reaction did not reveal much, it simply contributed to the rumors about her prospective transfer to the WNBA and the Indiana Fever.
It instilled confidence in me from a young age when I was a young girl, and I think that's something a lot of young girls can learn to have, and I think people...
Indiana Fever's decision to pursue Caitlin Clark was not a whim. It was a planned decision that was consistent with the team's long-term success strategy. For years, the Fever had been looking for a franchise player, someone who could lead the club on the court while elevating the whole organization. They recognized Caitlin Clark as a player who might become the franchise's face in the coming years. Her star power, mixed with her evident skill, made her the perfect choice to restore the Fever to prominence.
It just kind of speaks to the physicality of the league. It's just, she kind of got me in the right spot.
The 2023 WNBA season was filled with excitement, energy, and a renewed interest in women's basketball. Most of it was due to the debut of Caitlin Clark, a fantastic rookie who took the league by storm. Caitlin Clark, a once-in-a-generation talent, not only became a focal point for her club, the Indiana Fever, but also propelled the WNBA to new heights, attracting more fans, sponsorships, and media coverage. However, since her ouster from the playoffs, the WNBA has seen a significant dip in viewership, prompting many to question the league's future and its over-reliance on a single star.
This franchise get even better, help my teammates get even better, be better for my teammates, and I know there's a lot of room for me to continue to improve, so that's what excites me the most. I feel like I can continue to get a lot better, and before we know it, I'm sure we'll all be back here and ready for the next year.
The rapid drop in WNBA viewership after Clark's departure has been concerning. The league, which had seen a renaissance because of her box office success, is now facing a reality check as people tune out, leaving the playoffs with low viewing figures. This circumstance highlights a larger issue: the WNBA's reliance on a single superstar to carry the league and keep fans interested. But how did we get here? And what should the WNBA do to withstand the downturn?
First, the rookie marks. Most points, assists, first rookie to have a triple-double, and made the most threes by a rookie in a season.
Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA has been apparent. From the start, she enthralled onlookers with her unrivaled abilities, tremendous shooting range, and playmaking ability. Fans were captivated by her competitive nature and ability to dominate contests. She soon rose to prominence as the face of the Indiana Fever, and hence the WNBA. As a rookie, Clark broke records and established new performance standards, being the quickest player to achieve 100 three-pointers and establishing other rookie season marks.
She set the single-season assist mark in her debut campaign, and those dimes added up. Clark created 38 points per game, a new league record, and she had 19 dimes against Dallas.
Clark's effect was not confined to his on-court statistics. Her participation also drew unprecedented attention to women's basketball, garnering a larger audience, increasing retail sales, and boosting TV ratings to levels not seen in years. According to sources, Caitlin Clark's games garnered millions of spectators, including 1.5 million for her WNBA debut. Merchandise sales increased by 450%, while attendance at Fever games grew dramatically. Clark's performances were must-see events, generating a buzz across the sports world.
Caitlin played in 21 games this season that had at least 1 million viewers, adding to a level of excitement the league has continued to see grow over the last few seasons.
It's no wonder that Clark was considered the WNBA's savior, given her ability to attract spectators and produce cash. Many regarded her as the golden girl of women's basketball, the player who could ultimately put the WNBA on the map in ways that previous players had failed to do. Her arrival changed the Indiana Fever from a struggling team to a playoff contender almost immediately. However, like with every sports league, leaning too much on a single player may have negative effects, and the WNBA is now confronting that unpleasant truth. Caitlin Clark was primarily responsible for the WNBA's increased popularity during the 2023 season. Her ability to lure viewers was critical, but it also showed a fundamental problem with the league: an over-reliance on a single superstar to keep fans interested. Other players in the league, including Breanna Stewart, Aja Wilson, and Sabrina Ionescu, are unquestionably great and have their fan following. Still, none have caught the collective interest of fans in the same manner that Clark has. As a consequence, when Clark was ousted from the playoffs, the WNBA's viewership dropped dramatically. Playoff games without Clark failed to attract viewers, with some games seeing viewership drop by over 90% compared to regular season games with her. This decline is concerning because it underlines the fragility of the WNBA's present rise. While the league has improved in recent years, it still needs the depth of star power and stories required to keep casual viewers interested if its greatest attraction is no longer there.
One of the best three-point shooters in the league. And under 20 seconds left, last chance for the Fever. Clark can't get it to go, and Clark and the Fever season comes to an end.
The WNBA's reliance on Clark also raises questions about its long-term viability. No sports league can thrive purely on the popularity of a single player, no matter how great they are. The NBA, for example, has effectively established a league-wide fan base by promoting several stars and developing fascinating tales that extend beyond individual players. In contrast, the WNBA's marketing and promotion activities have yet to reach the same degree of detail. When Caitlin Clark was ousted from the playoffs, the WNBA's viewership plummeted significantly. The league, which had experienced record-breaking ratings throughout the season, suddenly found itself battling to keep fans' enthusiasm. Game 1 of the semifinals, which did not include Clark, witnessed a significant dip in viewership, falling from almost 1.8 million for a regular season match, including Clark, to just 161,000 for a playoff game without her.
And this one was a fight. Early on, tempers flaring. Caitlin Clark misses the three over DeWanna Bonner. And Chiney, what did you see on this interaction?
This precipitous dip in viewership is not only alarming, but also unprecedented in WNBA history. Never before has the league seen such a drastic difference in viewership between the regular season and the playoffs. Typically, postseason games bring greater crowds as people tune in to see the greatest teams battle for the title. However, with Caitlin Clark's absence, many casual fans lost interest, and the playoff games seemed less thrilling without her star power. Rivalries are what pique viewers' interest in sports, and the WNBA must produce matches that fans are eager to see regardless of who is playing. The WNBA should also spend on marketing initiatives that promote the skills and personalities of its other players, like Brianna Stewart, Aja Wilson, and Sabrina Ionescu. These guys have their fan following, which may keep spectators interested even when Clark is not on the court.
We saw the ratings, we saw the merchandise sales, we saw the attendance, but y'all want to make it about something else. Oh, what about the women that laid the foundation? What about this? What about it?
Another important area for development is the WNBA's schedule and media attention. The league must guarantee that its playoff games get the same degree of promotion and attention as regular season games. This includes negotiating better playoff game times and collaborating with broadcast networks to boost the awareness of WNBA games. The league should also look for new methods to engage fans, such as social media advertising, interactive fan experiences, and partnerships with influencers and celebrities. The WNBA must also invest in its future by grooming young players and building a pipeline of future stars. Caitlin Clark has been a game changer for the league, but she cannot carry the WNBA alone. The league must find and promote the next generation of athletes who can captivate fans for years to come. This involves investing in youth basketball programs, raising the profile of college women's basketball, and giving young players more opportunities to demonstrate their abilities.
Ali was the greatest was because of the adversity. It's not to compare one to the other, because I'm not trying to do that. I'm simply pointing out that what goes on outside the court.
The WNBA's ratings drop after Caitlin Clark's elimination is a wake-up call for the league. While Clark's star power drew unprecedented attention to women's basketball, the league must rely on her to keep fans interested. The WNBA must adopt a comprehensive strategy for expansion, concentrating on rivalries, promoting its other players, and developing intriguing narratives that keep fans interested throughout the season. Its financial constraints and the need to create steady income require negotiating better television contracts, acquiring more sponsors, and diversifying its income sources. The league must also invest in its future by grooming new talent and ensuring that the next generation of players is prepared to carry the torch.
I feel like I had a solid year, but for me, the fun part is I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, and I'm one that's nitpicking every single thing I do, and I know I want to help this franchise get even better, help my teammates get even better.
The WNBA has made considerable progress in recent years, but the ratings dropped after Clark's removal, which demonstrates that more work has to be done. By making the necessary efforts to expand its fan base, develop its players, and protect its financial future, the WNBA can rebound from this setback and continue to flourish in the coming years. Imagine losing your roof over your head, having nowhere to go, and being exposed to the harsh weather and the terrible uncertainty of the future. This was the awful reality that the Cross family faced when their lone home, a dilapidated caravan, was destroyed. Dustin Cross and his 3 children were overwhelmed by the prospect of becoming homeless, and without a safety net, they found themselves gazing into an abyss of uncertainty.
With breaking news out of Indiana Township, where several departments are responding to a large fire along Little Deer Creek Road.
However, things took an unexpected turn for the Cross family when a ray of hope appeared in the shape of basketball superstar Caitlin Clark. Caitlin was well known for her exceptional court abilities, but she demonstrated that her excellence stretched well beyond that. Caitlin stepped in and did an astounding act of compassion, changing not just the Cross family's life, but also the hearts of countless others around the country. What precisely did she do to cause such uproar? Let's get into this amazing narrative of hope, kindness, and perseverance.
Students and families of Des Moines Public Schools and Diocese of Des Moines got a big surprise today when Caitlin Clark showed up at North High School. Clark making an appearance as part of the Caitlin Clark Foundation Back to School Backpacks Initiative. Over 350 DMPS students received a sweet Nike backpack filled with school supplies and a water bottle. Caitlin's foundation
The Cross family represented the pinnacle of love and harmony. Dustin Cross, a dedicated father, lived in a small caravan near Indianapolis, Indiana, with his 3 children, Megan, AA, and Eli. Despite their poor circumstances, their house was full of happiness, laughter, and a strong feeling of community. The youngsters were bright, lively, and enthusiastic about basketball, a sport that brought them together via school and church competitions. Family traditions such as game evenings, Sunday meals, and summer vacations were treasured, resulting in lifetime memories. However, beneath their laughter and pleasure, their house was gradually collapsing. The caravan, which had housed their family for years, was displaying obvious symptoms of degradation. Weathered by time and the weather, the once brilliant and robust building has faded and fractured. The flooring groaned underfoot, and despite their best efforts, the family couldn't afford the significant renovations required to make their house habitable. Their circumstances deteriorated, and the threat of homelessness crept into their life as the state of their house worsened.
Well, Pam, just a few moments ago, we were let up onto the top of this hill, waiting down at the bottom for a while, and then the fire chief just allowed us up here, so we are...
Dustin, who had received custody of his children in 2018, was saddened at the prospect of his children being mocked for not having a stable home. He felt the weight of his family's increasing despair. Their concerns were realized when in 2021, the caravan was tragically destroyed in a fire. In a matter of minutes, the family's possessions were reduced to ashes. The Cross family was distraught, overwhelmed, and left with nothing. No insurance, no funds, and no obvious road ahead. The trauma of losing their house made the family vulnerable in ways they never expected. Dustin's salary barely met their basic requirements, much alone the expenditures of restoring a house. The children's education, which had formerly been a top focus, now seemed questionable. Extracurricular activities, such as basketball, which the youngsters enjoyed, were unaffordable. The Cross family felt as if they were drowning in misery, unable to recover from the heartbreaking loss. Following the fire, the Cross family faced a number of challenges. They were forced to relocate from one rental to the next, disrupting their lives and fighting to preserve a feeling of security. Each time they relocated, they faced increasing rents, and the prospect of never having a stable place to live weighed hard on them. Their routines were disrupted, they lost security, and they lived in continual dread of upheaval. Despite these hurdles, Dustin refused to give up hope. He decided to seek assistance from other sources, seeking to find a solution to his family's deteriorating predicament. Dustin applied to Group 101, a business initiative that helps homeless families find permanent residence. Dustin went to orientations and was given a budget coach to help him recover his financial security. While this brought a ray of optimism, it was insufficient to entirely turn their position around. The Cross family still needed a miracle to get out of their dire circumstances.
At this damage, unfortunately, one person has lost their home tonight. You can see all of the damage left here. Crews still trying to...
In an unforeseen twist of destiny, Caitlin Clark, a recognized basketball standout known for her great talents and leadership on the court, seemed to perform the miracle. Caitlin Clark was widely regarded as one of America's best basketball players. She led her teams to several wins and received awards such as NCAA Division I all-time top scorer, Big Ten Player of the Year, and two-time National Player of the Year. However, Caitlin's abilities went well beyond basketball. Off the court, Caitlin was well known for her humanitarian endeavors and a strong desire to assist people in need. She dedicated her foundation and other charity endeavors to elevating families, campaigning for education and healthcare, and inspiring young girls via sports. Her selflessness was as amazing as her athletic ability, and her goodwill changed the lives of the Cross family. Caitlin Clark heard about the Cross family situation, she realized she had to step in and assist. Caitlin volunteered with Group 101 and Habitat for Humanity to help construct a brand new house for the Cross family. This was more than simply a handout, it was a lifeline to a family in urgent need. When Caitlin Clark came to meet the Cross family, they couldn't believe their eyes. Caitlin, along with Indiana Pacers player Isaiah Jackson and other volunteers, welcomed them warmly and graciously. Caitlin embraced each family member, providing words of encouragement and informing them that aid was on its way. Dustin and his daughters found the situation overwhelming. Tears flowed down their cheeks as they realized their lives were about to change forever.
I want to be more like Caitlin, not Mike.
and we got here at 10, and we've been sitting out here since 10 a.m.
Madison Bellin was...
Caitlin and the volunteers jumped right in to assist in building their new house. They were doing more than simply constructing a home. They were also restoring the Cross family's optimism, stability, and feeling of security. Caitlin's kindness did not end there. She ensured that the Cross family's passion for basketball continued by installing a custom-built basketball hoop for Eli, the youngest boy. For Eli, this was a dream come true. He enjoyed basketball, so having a space to play it at home was nothing short of miraculous. Caitlin and Isaiah Jackson even played a few games with the kids, brightening the day and making it one the Cross family will never forget.
Meanwhile, in Iowa City, Caitlin Clark and the Hawkeyes earned home court advantage. Our own Kaylin Thompson reports on how the women on the court are inspiring young fans in the stands.
Fans filed in from the rain.
The influence of Caitlin Clark's act of compassion extended well beyond the physical construction of a home. For Dustin Cross and his children, it represented stability, safety, and the assurance that they would no longer have to worry about where they would live in the future. It allowed them to reconstruct their lives and look to the future with newfound hope. Caitlin's generosity gave them a new beginning, a future in which they could once again concentrate on their schooling, extracurricular activities, and making new family memories.
And also just giving them something to smile about, taking a second out of my day to give them a high five, to sign their shoe, sign their poster, whatever it is. I think that
when asked how they might thank her, Caitlin simply said, "Keep the kindness going." She urged the Cross family to assist those in need in the same way they had been helped. The Cross family was greatly moved by the idea of paying it forward, and they pledged to do their bit to assist others in any way they could. To make their day even brighter, Group 101 gave the family front row tickets to an Indiana Fever game, as well as caps, shoes, shirts, and other fan gear. Dustin Cross, who had been trying to find permanent work, also experienced a stroke of luck. He got a new work as an inventory manager at a local firm, offering the family financial stability and hope for a better future. Things were finally getting better for the Cross family, owing to Caitlin Clark's tremendous generosity.
Hours before tip-off.
I love Caitlin Clark, and it's just like worth the time to see her play. I play basketball, so like it's just good to see like how many people are starting to like.
Caitlin Clark's participation with the Cross family was only one example of her willingness to assist others in need. Caitlin's foundation and connections with organizations such as Hoops for Hope and the Coralville Community Food Pantry have had a long-term influence on many people's lives. Her activities go well beyond housing aid. She is dedicated to collecting cash for cancer research, organizing basketball clinics for impoverished girls, and offering much-needed supplies to needy families. Caitlin's outstanding project included a $22,000 donation to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Iowa. She has also collaborated with Nike to provide winter apparel and sports equipment to underprivileged youngsters, including more than 85 hoodies, 75 pairs of gloves, and 57 basketballs. Her gifts exceeded $113,000 in retail value, demonstrating her commitment to elevating others. It's no surprise that Caitlin has received multiple awards for her charitable work, including the renowned NCLA Community Service Award and the WBCA Soaring to New Heights Award.
This week for Clark's game against the Wildcats.
My wife is going to get a very nice Valentine's Day gift, and my mortgage company is going to get the next 2 payments ahead of time. So this is good. A personal shout out to that young lady.
Caitlin Clark and volunteers from Group 101 and Habitat for Humanity helped the Cross family get their own house. Construction on the home is slated to be done by the autumn, and the family is looking forward to moving in and building new memories. Dustin Cross's life has improved, as he is now employed and excited about the future. His children, who previously faced uncertainty and sorrow, now have a stable environment in which to develop, study, and prosper. The basketball hoop erected in their new yard serves as a sign of their strength and a reminder that kindness and compassion can actually alter people's lives. As the Cross family prepares to move into their new home, they bring with them Caitlin Clark's vital lessons: pay it forward, assist others, and never lose hope.
And we got here at 10, and we've been sitting out here since 10 a.m.
Madison Bellin was first in line for general admission 9 hours before tip.
Cross family's experience exemplifies the power of community and the necessity of never giving up, and the long-term consequences of charity. Caitlin Clark's act of generosity will be remembered not just by the Cross family, but also by anybody who hears their tale. Caitlin's acts serve as a reminder that even in the darkest of circumstances, there is still hope.
Gil's Arena has long been a hotbed for passionate basketball disputes, with former NBA great Gilbert Arenas and his team spawning viral debates on a variety of basketball themes.
In the W post-Olympic break, I believe 9-4 in that span. Caitlin Clark, huge reason for that success. So set the WNBA single season.
However, a recent show sparked controversy when the hosts discussed the accomplishments of Caitlin Clark, a rising star in the WNBA, and Sheryl Swoopes' perceived underestimation of her ability. What started as a casual basketball discussion quickly turned into a heated debate that shocked the internet sports community. Fans, analysts, and even former players chimed in on the show's controversial statements, particularly those of Swoopes, a WNBA legend who many believed was unfairly minimizing Clark's achievements. In this post, we will examine the viral episode and dissect the arguments offered by both sides. Gilbert Arenas and his colleagues at Gil's Arena have earned a reputation for being unvarnished and frequently provocative when discussing NBA and WNBA matters. The show's style encourages in-depth study, while also fostering contested and occasionally controversial perspectives. The episode in question was no exception. The talk began with a general discussion of how dominance is characterized in sports, particularly among rookie players. Caitlin Clark, who had dominated the collegiate basketball scene before moving to the WNBA, rapidly became the focus of the discussion.
She went from playing in college, playing in the Final Four, going to the draft, going to training camp, season starts, and the Fever are playing, I don't know how many games they played.
Clark's performances in college were nothing short of spectacular. Her record-breaking scoring and assist totals brought parallels to some of the best players in women's basketball history. Clark entered the WNBA with huge expectations, but according to Gil's Arena, her effect has yet to materialize fully. And this is where the discussion heated up, whether Caitlin Clark was already a dominant player or if fans and commentators had exaggerated her abilities.
Glass in for two.
Jackie Young with all 18 points here in the second quarter.
Sheryl Swoopes, a prominent figure in women's basketball and one of the first players to join the WNBA, poured gasoline on the fire when she spoke up. During the show, Swoopes questioned Caitlin Clark's WNBA supremacy, claiming that while Clark was outstanding in college, her transfer to the professional level had failed to live up to the promise. Swoopes' comments focused on the idea that college dominance only sometimes converts into WNBA success. She pointed out that Clark's WNBA numbers, while excellent, did not always reflect the same level of perfect control over the game that she had demonstrated in college.
About like one player, but their ability to really gel together and their chemistry right now.
Many fans disagreed with this opinion, believing Caitlin Clark was a transformative athlete capable of becoming one of the WNBA's brightest stars. While Swoopes' comments were not intended to invalidate Clark fully, they did appear to belittle the considerable pressure and hardships that rookies confront while transferring from college basketball to the pros. As a result, the topic immediately devolved into a dispute over how we evaluate dominance and whether Swoopes was being unduly harsh on Clark.
To me, what Caitlin's been able to do in a short period of time has been very impressive, right?
Gilbert Arenas and his co-hosts on Gil's Arena didn't hold back following Swoopes' initial remarks. In fact, they appeared to agree with her, emphasizing that Clark, despite her scoring and assist records, was not dominating the WNBA in the same manner she had in college. The dispute centered on the intricacies of what constituted domination in sports, with Arenas arguing that Clark's stats, while impressive, still needed to indicate a player capable of controlling the flow of the game at whim.
She wouldn't be good, but I didn't say she wouldn't be good. What I said was I didn't think Caitlin or Angel would come into the league and dominate immediately.
One of the most important issues discussed was the distinction between scoring a lot of points and controlling the general flow of a game. While Clark's scoring and assist figures were obviously good, Arenas and his team believed she had yet to reach a level where she could routinely take over games. They thought her numbers were not equivalent to those of other WNBA stars during their peak years, such as A'ja Wilson or Candace Parker. However, Arenas and his team recognized that Clark was still in the early phases of her career, and they made it plain that their criticism was not about her potential, but rather whether she had already achieved the degree of dominance that many expected.
One who said that, so I think a lot of people felt that when you talk to a lot of players in the W, it's like, look, it's hard for rookies to make that transition from college to the W.
Gino said it.
A large part of the conversation at Gil's Arena focused on the concept of domination in basketball. The hosts and Swoops debated what it meant to dominate a game. Is it all about the score, or is there more to it? Caitlin Clark's academic career had set an extremely high bar for what others expected of her. She was a natural leader on the court, setting records for assists and consistently posting high-scoring performances. However, upon entering the WNBA, Clark encountered the same obstacles that many young stars faced in their first seasons, adjusting to the greater level of competition, the toughness of the game, and the faster speed of professional basketball.
Oh, the deep seal, about the block from behind by Wilson.
But Stokes wasn't ready for it.
The Gil's Arena crew contended that domination should not be determined exclusively by points. Instead, it should reflect a player's ability to influence all aspects of the game, including scoring, playmaking, defense, and leadership. They argued that while Clark was an exceptional scorer, her rookie season had not yet demonstrated her ability to manage games at the professional level regularly. They compared her performances to those of established WNBA players who had the experience and savvy to influence games in ways other than stats. Another significant reason driving the argument over Gil's Arena was Caitlin Clark's high expectations. As a college player, she was frequently referred to as the next big thing in women's basketball. Her outstanding collegiate records and ability to produce under duress prompted many to expect she would make an early, superstar-level impact in the WNBA. But is it fair to set such high expectations for a rookie?
It's how they build on that in the second half.
The personnel they have, the way the offense is flowing, and it's absolutely a major part of it, how it goes.
Sheryl Swoopes' comments seemed to imply that Clark's expectations were unrealistic. Swoops said Clark required time to adjust to the professional game, and her current performance matched that of a very skilled rookie still learning the ropes. Swoops did, however, point out that the WNBA is not the same as NCAA basketball. Players who dominate in college may not usually carry that dominance to the professionals, and even the most talented rookies require time to develop. The crew of Gil's Arena agreed with Swoops, stating that while Clark had shown flashes of brilliance, she hadn't yet dominated in the way that many had predicted. The heart of their thesis was that dominance in the WNBA differs from that in college. In college, Clark could outperform opponents with her superior skills, but in the WNBA, every player is excellent, and dominance requires more than just scoring ability.
Saying it, dominate, right? When we're talking about Caitlin, we're talking about when she said dominate, when we're saying dominate.
A lot of the talk on Gil's Arena was about Caitlin Clark's rookie season numbers. Clark's numbers were clearly excellent for a rookie, but the hosts questioned whether they accurately represented dominance. By the halfway point of the season, Clark was averaging around 20 points per game, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds. While these figures were amazing for a rookie, some on Gil's Arena thought they paled in comparison to her domination during her college career when she consistently posted 30-point games and was the unquestioned leader of her team.
Vegas a 2-point lead after 1 quarter. Kelsey Plum over to Clark. Good ball movement. We saw A'ja Wilson knock down the 3, decides to take it off.
One of the main reasons was that while Clark contributed in a variety of ways, scoring, assisting, and rebounding, her impact on the game was not as strong as it had been in college. In the WNBA, she was no longer the main option on every play, and the level of competition meant she couldn't always dominate the pace and flow of the game as she did at Iowa.
To Juha, Storka fell down. Here comes Wilson. A'ja beat the shot clock, and they call a foul. Final second.
The counter-argument, Clark's accomplishments speak for themselves. While Gil's Arena questioned Clark's domination, many fans and commentators argued that Clark's rookie stats were more than enough to demonstrate that she was already making a huge impact in the WNBA. Clark set multiple records during her debut season, including the most points scored by a rookie and the most three-pointers shot in a single season. She also led the league in assists, demonstrating her ability to contribute to her team outside of scoring. For many, Clark's exploits proved that she was, in fact, dominating the league in her unique way.
Team's best player, and that sure has showed up this season in the WNBA.
Wilson, that little shimmy shake a la Hakeem Olajuwon.
Furthermore, Clark's presence on the court had already revolutionized the Indiana Fever, a team that had struggled in previous seasons but had experienced a rebirth under Clark's leadership. Her ability to improve her teammates, generate scoring opportunities, and lead by example was viewed by many as a type of dominance, even if it did not always appear in standard statistics.
You cannot over-help on penetration, but that's also the responsibility of the on-ball defender. A'ja Wilson's going to work. Here comes.
One of the reasons Sheryl Swoopes' statements were so influential in the conversation was her playing legacy. Swoopes, a 3-time WNBA MVP and one of the league's earliest superstars, offers a unique perspective on what it takes to compete at the highest level of women's basketball. Thus, her critique of Clark was viewed as a remark from someone who had been in Clark's shoes and understood the problems.
She's dominated college, right?
No, she dominated in college.
She dominated. So when she says you won't come here and dominate off the rip.
Finally, the discussion on Gil's Arena brings up a broader issue in sports commentary, the temptation to pass judgment on young athletes too fast. While Clark's first season did not live up to expectations, it is evident that she had the talent, drive, and potential to become one of the WNBA's most prominent talents. Only time will tell if she can achieve the degree of dominance that players like Swoopes did. But for now, the argument over her legacy is only getting started. The world of women's basketball has been more exciting and intense than ever in 2024. The WNBA season has given us unforgettable moments. Still, one of the biggest talking points is the rivalry between two of the league's brightest stars, A'ja Wilson of the Las Vegas Aces and Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever. Both players are neck and neck for the MVP title, but tensions reached an all-time high after Clark's stunning appearance at the MVP Awards, where she reportedly stole the spotlight from Wilson.
Relying on her passing, getting the ball to her, defense double team, A'ja Wilson.
This video looks into how Caitlin Clark, in her rookie year, managed to shake the WNBA's landscape and, in the process, ignite a fierce rivalry with veteran A'ja Wilson. We'll explore Wilson's dominance, Clark's rise to fame, and the turning point at the MVP Awards that sent shockwaves through the basketball community.
WNBA MVP A'ja Wilson joined us here on SportsCenter. A'ja, I hope you could hear some of the stats we were just throwing at the audience.
A'ja Wilson has been a force in the WNBA since she entered the league. By 2024, she's already a multiple-time MVP winner, WNBA champion, and regarded as one of the most complete players in the game. Her stats for the season are nothing short of remarkable, leading the league in scoring and blocks and nearly topping the rebounding charts. Wilson has dominated both ends of the court for the Las Vegas Aces, helping her team stay on top and securing a high playoff seed.
With a clear out, runs and shows some help and gets in the gap and forces her to pass. The fortuitous bounce and one for...
Despite her accolades, the 2024 season was more challenging for Wilson than anticipated. Her success was almost taken for granted. Fans and analysts saw her as the inevitable MVP, and this sentiment carried through most of the season. A'ja Wilson is the MVP. No contest, they would say. However, this disregard changed when a young rookie started making waves. Wilson, being the consummate professional she is, never publicly acknowledged the pressure mounting from younger talents like Clark. Yet, in interviews and social media, there were hints of frustration. After all, some saw her league, her title, and Clark as a new threat. For A'ja Wilson, the MVP award was more than just another trophy. It symbolized her dominance in the sport to which she had dedicated her life.
Just trusting the process, but also our defensive end. I think we really settled down on the defensive end, and that's where we can really play our basketball. But sometimes you gotta trust the process. Adversity hit us a little.
Enter Caitlin Clark, a name that would soon be on the lips of every basketball fan across the globe. Clark's entry into the WNBA was nothing short of spectacular. Coming off a stellar college career at Iowa, Clark's transition to professional basketball was seamless. Known for her sharpshooting, playmaking, and competitive edge, she quickly became the face of the Indiana Fever, a team that had languished at the bottom of the league for years.
The pressure as Bonner can't hit. Back then laid the rebound. Here comes Clark, bouncing to...
Clark's rookie season stats were mind-boggling, averaging nearly 20 points per game, leading the league in assists, and shooting a staggering number of threes. She wasn't just a rookie standout, she was one of the best players in the entire WNBA. Her impact on the Indiana Fever was immediate and profound, turning the team into playoff contenders for the first time in nearly a decade.
Realizes it. Clark trying to take her defender, pulls up and hits from the mid-range, 20 points.
What made Clark stand out wasn't just her ability to score or facilitate, but her confidence on the court. From buzzer beaters to clutch performances in big games, she exuded an aura of fearlessness, one that endeared her to fans, but put her in the crosshairs of seasoned veterans like Wilson. Despite being a rookie, Clark was already being hailed as a potential MVP candidate, which set the stage for the tension between her and Aja.
Of that run to the finals before the Liberty fell to the Aces in 4 games. Clark connects!
As the 2024 WNBA season progressed, it became clear that Caitlin Clark and Aja Wilson were on a collision course. The MVP race, which many thought Wilson would run away with, became a 2-horse race. Every game, every stat, every highlight seemed to compare these two players, veteran dominance versus rookie sensation. This rivalry wasn't just confined to the court. Off the court, fans and analysts were quick to stir the pot. Social media buzzed with debates on who deserved the MVP more. Clark's fans were vocal, especially after some of her standout performances against powerhouse teams like the Las Vegas Aces. Aja Wilson's fans, on the other hand, remained confident that their star player would maintain her throne.
The energy. I feel like the energy is good. It's a good vibe. It's a good feel. People are really just coming to see the product on the floor.
The media, too, fueled the fire. Headlines like, "Is Caitlin Clark more influential than Aja Wilson?" became common, and every ESPN segment seemed to analyze Clark's rise compared to Wilson's steady greatness. Wilson, who had been the face of the league for years, suddenly found herself sharing the spotlight with a rookie. She handled it with grace, on the surface. But behind the scenes, there were murmurs that Wilson wasn't pleased with the narrative shift.
In the bubble, I walked into that room and handed you the MVP trophy, and guess what? You are the 2024.
One of the biggest moments of the season that highlighted this tension was when Clark's Indiana Fever defeated Wilson's Las Vegas Aces in a regular season thriller. Clark dropped 35 points, including a buzzer-beater 3 to win the game, and the clip of Wilson's reaction, frustrated, hands on hips, went viral. While Wilson downplayed the loss, it was clear that Clark's emergence had gotten under her skin.
45 blocks last year, Clark for 3!
The stage was set for the MVP Awards night, the culmination of an intense WNBA season. Aja Wilson, coming off another dominant season, was expected to take home her 3rd MVP trophy. Caitlin Clark, however, was the wild card. While most analysts predicted Wilson to win, Clark's undeniable impact had many believing that she could pull off an upset. As the awards ceremony began, the tension in the room was palpable. Wilson, dressed in a sleek black gown, sat confidently with her Las Vegas Aces teammates by her side. Caitlin Clark, ever the competitor, had also made her way to the event. Her presence alone was enough to stir conversation. After all, how often does a rookie show up to an event where they're up against the league's greatest?
The wait is finally over.
The best player on the planet, number 22, Aja Wilson.
When the MVP award was announced, it was no surprise that Aja Wilson was crowned the winner. But the drama unfolded in the moments that followed. As Wilson made her way to the stage to accept the trophy, a camera panned to Clark. The rookie star was seen smiling, clapping politely, but many noticed the intensity in her eyes. For Wilson, what was supposed to be a moment of triumph felt bittersweet as the shadow of Clark loomed large over the celebration.
One award, it's been over for a while. Aja Wilson is the best player in the W, and she was named the MVP unanimously on Sunday. Only the second player.
Rumors quickly spread that Wilson was furious behind the scenes. Sources claimed that she felt disrespected by Clark's presence at the awards, believing the rookie was there to steal her spotlight. These reports gained traction after a leaked video showed Wilson in a heated conversation with her teammates post-ceremony. While Wilson didn't directly call out Clark, her body language and tone suggested that she wasn't pleased with how the night had unfolded. The days following the MVP awards were filled with speculation, memes, and debates. Social media exploded with fans taking sides, Team Aja or Team Caitlin. While some argued that Wilson's frustration was justified, others believed Clark had every right to attend the ceremony and celebrate her incredible season. Basketball analysts weighed in as well. Some believed that Wilson's reaction was a sign of her competitive spirit, a desire to remain the best in the league. Others suggested that Wilson, perhaps subconsciously, saw Clark as the beginning of a new era in the WNBA, one where her reign as the league's top player might be coming to an end.
Feel about that? Oh, that's incredible. I did not know it was unanimous. That's so cool. That is really cool.
Clark, for her part, remained silent publicly. She posted a congratulatory message to Wilson on social media, praising her as a worthy MVP. But the rookie's silence on the MVP snub fueled further speculation. Did she feel she deserved the award? Was she upset at being overlooked despite her record-breaking season? The basketball world was left guessing. As for Wilson, she gave a few interviews after the awards, downplaying the rumors of her frustration. "I'm just here to win championships," she said, emphasizing that her focus was on the upcoming playoffs. But fans and analysts couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between Wilson and Clark. This wasn't just a rivalry anymore, it was personal.
This is the first time since 1997 that it was a unanimous vote for MVP.
I did not know it was.
Oh, congratulations, yeah.
With the MVP awards behind them, both A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark turned their attention to the WNBA playoffs. For Wilson, this was her opportunity to cement her legacy further by leading the Las Vegas Aces to another championship. For Clark, it was a chance to prove that she wasn't just a flash in the pan, that her rookie season was just the beginning of a storied career.
This year, but a really cool shoe collab with Under Armour and Kelsey Plum.
Oh, I love it with the cigar flare as well.
As the WNBA entered its most exciting part of the season, fans eagerly awaited the possibility of a Clark versus Wilson showdown in the playoffs. The MVP race had ended, but the rivalry was far from over. Both players had something to prove. Wilson, that she was still the league's best, and Clark, that she could compete with the WNBA's elite. The 2024 WNBA season will forever be remembered for the clash between these two basketball titans. A'ja Wilson, the established superstar, and Caitlin Clark, the rising sensation, represent two different eras of the league. And while Wilson took home the MVP trophy this time, it's clear that Clark's presence has already changed the landscape of women's basketball.
Here is Clark. She will launch and bury a three.
Only time will tell how this rivalry evolves, but one thing is certain: the battle between A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark is far from over. The MVP awards may have gone to A'ja Wilson, but the real story of the 2024 WNBA season is the rivalry that has emerged between her and Caitlin Clark. It's a rivalry that has captivated fans, sparked debates, and made women's basketball more exciting than ever.
Said she did USA 3-on-3, China, Turkey. Now she thinks this is ready for her time.
So, what do you think? Was A'ja Wilson right to feel furious about Caitlin Clark's appearance at the MVP awards? Or was it simply the nature of competition? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this ongoing rivalry. Caitlin Clark, the exceptional Iowa Hawkeyes basketball player, has shown to be a formidable opponent on the floor. Her incredible performances have captivated viewers, making her one of the most talked about players in college basketball today. Clark's extraordinary scoring ability, leadership, and unmistakable brilliance have captivated both sports fans and pundits. However, she recently became the focus of a different type of attention, not because of her on-court exploits, but because of comments made about her by ESPN's Molly Qerim.
Clark over Horston, hits a three!
In a world where athletes are constantly scrutinized, Caitlin Clark's name came up in a heated debate that eventually led to ESPN's decision to terminate Molly Qerim. The episode has aroused significant controversy, with sports fans, commentators, and critics commenting on both Qerim's statements and Clark's meteoric ascent to fame. As we investigate this surprising turn of events, it is critical to consider Caitlin Clark's effect on women's basketball, the context of the statements that led to Qerim's firing, and the broader ramifications for sports journalism today.
I could actually argue that it hurts the game more if they had given her a roster spot over someone more deserving.
So go ahead and argue it.
That's exactly.
Before delving into the topic, it's important to understand who Caitlin Clark is and why she's become such an influential person in women's sports. Caitlin Clark's collegiate basketball career has been nothing short of spectacular. As a prominent Iowa Hawkeyes player, she has constantly provided awe-inspiring performances, often carrying her team on her back with amazing scoring ability, vision, and a dogged will to win.
But Cowan, who couldn't finish, behind the back again for Clark, give her another assist.
Clark, from Des Moines, Iowa, was already a household name in high school basketball, where she broke records and garnered national recognition. Her choice to remain home and play for Iowa signaled the start of a new era in women's collegiate basketball. Clark made it evident from the time she walked on the floor as a freshman that she was unique. Her ability to sink deep three-pointers, throw out precise assists, and lead her squad with toughness gained her respect around the league.
The turnover ratio in her career last season. Clark gets away with a little push. Fall away, buries it. And a little reaction.
In only a few seasons, Clark went from a prospective recruit to a popular name, garnering comparisons to some of basketball's best players. She's been dubbed a once-in-a-generation talent, capable of transforming the game's landscape and propelling the popularity of women's sports to new heights. Fans have praised her court vision, flair for the theatrical, and ability to take over games, often in the clutch.
Clark working on Van Loo. Oh, Clark, pretty step back, hits a three. Got a little sip.
Her awards have continued to pile up, including All-American honors, scoring crowns, and national notoriety. Clark has been associated with success in women's college basketball, and her efforts have propelled Iowa far into tournaments, where she has frequently single-handedly led her team to victory. As Clark's popularity rose, so did the prominence of women's basketball, resulting in more media coverage and a larger fan base.
And now Clark comes up with a steal. Clark thought about pulling up from three, will dip inside and lay it in.
Caitlin Clark's notoriety in the sports world is no surprise, since she has been a regular subject of discussion on sports broadcasts, such as ESPN's First Take. However, things took a dramatic turn when Molly Qerim, one of the show's co-hosts, made remarks that sparked a firestorm of outrage. During a section analyzing Clark's most recent performance, Qerim allegedly made statements that many saw as disparaging and contemptuous of Clark's achievements. While the statements seem innocuous on the surface, the manner in which they were delivered sparked outrage among fans and critics alike. Qerim reportedly said that Clark's style of play was showy, but lacked the substance required to excel at the top level of competition.
I think it makes a mockery of the women's game. If the focus on, now we just have to have people because of marketing and their attention, and they're not as talented.
The crowd did not favorably receive the statements. Fans of Caitlin Clark turned to social media to vent their anger, accusing Qerim of disparaging Clark's accomplishments and downplaying her importance in the sport. What made the matter even more contentious was the timing. Clark had just given another outstanding performance, guiding her side to a huge win. Qerim's words in the aftermath further added to the fury. In today's hyper-connected world, when news and views move at breakneck speed, Qerim's remarks became viral. Social media sites such as Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were inundated with comments condemning Qerim for what many saw as an unjustified and foolish assault on Clark. Hashtags like Shocker Support Caitlin Clark and Fire Molly Qerim started trending, with fans urging ESPN to take action.
It wasn't that anybody didn't think she was going to be successful or not play. It was just that we felt that other players in the W deserve shine as well.
Prominent people in sports, including players, pundits, and analysts, have spoken out on the issue. Many people jumped to Caitlin Clark's defense, praising her remarkable accomplishments and the wonderful influence she has made on women's basketball. Others questioned the larger implications of Qerim's words, claiming that female athletes are often held to higher standards and get more criticism than their male colleagues. The anger was not restricted to basketball enthusiasts. Advocates for women's sports and gender equality interpreted Qerim's remarks as symptomatic of a broader problem, the systematic undervaluation of women's athletic achievements. They said that statements like Qerim's foster the perception that women's sports are somehow inferior to men's despite athletes like Caitlin Clark competing at unprecedented levels.
Molly, I said...
Really, Molly? Wow.
They jumped on us. They jumped on us, Molly. They jumped on us as a show.
As the outcry grew, it became evident that this wasn't merely a slip of judgment. Qerim's remarks touched a deeper chord, addressing problems of gender, media portrayal, and the continuous struggle for recognition in women's sports. ESPN is no stranger to controversy, and the network has had its fair share of public relations issues over the years. However, the backlash over Qerim's remarks regarding Caitlin Clark created a particularly difficult scenario for the sports media behemoth.
Team and spending time on the bench, what is the conversation going to be about the entire...
Initially, ESPN kept mute on the matter, maybe anticipating that the reaction would subside on its own. However, when the scandal escalated, the network was obliged to confront it publicly. In a short statement, ESPN recognized that the statements made on First Take had offended viewers and promised them that the problem was being taken seriously. Behind the scenes, it was evident that ESPN was facing a tough choice. On the one hand, Karam was a well-known character on the network, having co-hosted the show First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. Firing a prominent figure like Karam would not be handled lightly. On the other side, the network came under increasing pressure from fans and supporters of women's sports to hold Karam responsible for her comments.
Eyeballs, the interest, the sizzle, the headlines were not there. No one cared. The public didn't.
Finally, ESPN chose to cut ways with Molly Karam. In a subsequent statement, the network reaffirmed its commitment to creating an open and respectful workplace for all athletes, including women. While the decision to terminate Karim elicited varied responses, it highlighted the rising significance of responsibility in sports media, especially with the treatment of female athletes. The aftermath of Molly Karam's termination has sparked a broader debate about media responsibility and the treatment of female athletes in the sports world. The episode demonstrates the power dynamics at work in sports media and raises serious concerns about how athletes, especially women, are depicted and discussed.
Excuse me?
You deserved it all.
Molly, can I speak to Andre?
Yeah.
Can I speak to Andre right now? Don't interrupt the flow.
One of the most obvious concerns that this scandal has highlighted is the discrepancy in how male and female the media regard athletes. While male athletes are often complimented for their confidence, swagger, and aggressiveness on the court, female competitors, such as Caitlin Clark, are sometimes chastised for exhibiting similar characteristics. This double standard reflects strongly held social ideas regarding gender and competitiveness, and it continues to influence how women in sports are regarded and assessed.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
Following Karam's dismissal, many have called for a review of how media outlets cover women's sports. While female athletes have made considerable progress in terms of exposure and acknowledgement, situations like these serve as a reminder that more work is still to be done. The media has a significant influence on public views of athletes, and that power comes with the duty to deliver fair and courteous coverage. For Caitlin Clark, the event has further cemented her place as a pioneer in women's basketball. Despite the criticism, she has stayed focused on her game, consistently delivering outstanding results and inspiring the next generation of athletes. Her tenacity in the face of media criticism is a great example for young athletes worldwide, demonstrating that on the court, achievement speaks louder than words.
They're already at 10. Look at the tie last year's winning record.
Clark from way downtown and knocks it down.
The dispute involving Molly Karam and Caitlin Clark is part of a larger discussion regarding the future of women's sports coverage. Women's sports are becoming more popular, and media sources must adjust to give more balanced coverage. This includes not just improving female athletes' exposure, but also ensuring that discussion and analysis of their performances are fair, impartial, and devoid of damaging preconceptions. The termination of Molly Karam sends a strong message that rude or disparaging statements regarding female athletes will not be allowed. However, the problem going ahead is establishing a media climate in which female athletes are rewarded for their achievements without resorting to such extreme measures. In the middle of this media storm, Caitlin Clark has continued to do what she does best: play top basketball. Her rise from high school wonder to college superstar has been nothing short of incredible, and she shows no signs of slowing down. The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, has produced a slew of outstanding players throughout the years, but two stand out in recent memory: Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Their paths, although different, have often crossed, with each making substantial contributions to women's basketball and the sport's general development. Clark and Mitchell have captivated fans with their on-court talent, and the history they have created together represents the WNBA's developing environment.
Wins all of last season. They're already at 10. Look at the tie last year's winning record.
Clark from way downtown.
Caitlin Clark, a brilliant college basketball player, was making headlines even before she joined the WNBA. Her remarkable ascent has catapulted her into talks with the game's luminaries. Kelsey Mitchell, on the other side, has quickly established herself as one of the WNBA's top scorers after being drafted in 2018. These two players symbolize the league's present and future, and their journeys tell a unique story of grit, ability, and dedication.
Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41%.
In this video, we will examine the connected histories of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, including their upbringing, early careers, and how they influenced and continue to develop the WNBA. We will also examine their playing styles, achievements, and impact both on and off the court.
Clark off the switch, found Smith, who laid it.
Caitlin Clark, born in West Des Moines, Iowa, has swiftly established herself as one of the country's most promising basketball players. Clark has had an unusual ability to score from wherever on the floor since he was little. Her high school career was nothing short of remarkable, as she established multiple records and received numerous awards. She was a high school All-American, and her choice to join the University of Iowa benefited both her and the program. During her college career, Clark's name became associated with explosive playmaking, long-range shooting, and a ferocious competitive spirit. Her ability to command the floor and push her team to success was shown when she led the Iowa Hawkeyes to new heights in the NCAA tournament. Clark's unwavering pursuit of perfection, along with her basketball IQ, elevated her to the ranks of women's collegiate basketball's most prominent players.
As Bonner can't hit, Fagbenle the rebound. Here comes Clark, bouncing to Fagbenle, who lays it in!
Clark was already being compared to some of the finest players in the WNBA before going pro, and her ability to have a huge effect on the league was obvious. She was seen not just as a potential WNBA player, but also as someone whose unique skill set may transform the game. Kelsey Mitchell, born in Cincinnati, Ohio, had a somewhat different road to basketball greatness. Mitchell's basketball career started in high school, where she polished her abilities before attending Ohio State University. Mitchell became one of the most prolific scorers in NCAA history while at Ohio State, establishing records for both her shooting ability and on-court leadership. Her accomplishments earned her a berth in the 2018 WNBA draft, when she was taken second overall by the Indiana Fever.
Minnesota bouncing back on top. Kelsey Mitchell also heating up in the second half.
The high arcing from Kelsey Mitchell.
Mitchell's move to the WNBA was simple, and she rapidly established herself in the league. Her scoring talent, especially from beyond the arc, gave her a nightmare for opponents, and she emerged as one of the Indiana Fever's primary offensive weapons. Mitchell's skill has improved over the years, and she is now one of the league's most consistent scorers. While Clark was still making an impact in college, Mitchell had already established herself as one of the best players in the WNBA, demonstrating that her collegiate success could be translated to the professional level.
Steve 9, 5:13 left in regulation. Mitchell tries to answer with a long-range jumper of her own.
Caitlin Clark's game is typified by her ability to score from any position on the floor. She possesses long range, allowing her to make three-pointers from many feet beyond the arc, similar to NBA stars such as Stephen Curry and Damian Lillard. But Clark is much more than simply a shooter. She is a superb playmaker, often setting up her teammates for easy baskets with precision passing and excellent court vision.
Comes Caitlin.
Clark's basketball IQ stands out among many other players. She is a game student who consistently makes the correct judgments and is seldom shaken by high-stakes scenarios. Clark has shown to be one of the most versatile players in recent memory, whether she is creating space for a shot, driving to the basket, or providing an assist. Clark is also a formidable defensive player. She uses her length and quickness to block passing lanes, and her competitive drive keeps her focused on both ends of the floor. Her total flexibility makes her a player who can influence the game in a variety of ways, which is one of the reasons she was so successful in college and is anticipated to succeed in the WNBA. Kelsey Mitchell, on the other hand, is well known for her scoring skills. Throughout her collegiate and WNBA careers, she was one of the most dangerous offensive players in the league. Mitchell's fast release and ability to build her shot make her an ongoing danger to opposition defenses. Her three-point shooting is exceptional, and she can pull up from anywhere on the floor with ease.
Mitchell has not missed a shot yet. She's 3 for 3. Shot clock down to 5. Mitchell trying to create. Step back, that's a 3. She connects. Mitchell is...
But Mitchell is more than simply a shooter. She can also attack the basket and finish through contact, making her a dynamic scorer who can disrupt defenses in various ways. Her quickness and ball handling abilities enable her to beat opponents off the dribble, and she is adept at managing traffic to reach the basket. While Mitchell's greatest strength is her ability to score, she has also improved her playmaking skills with time. Early in her career, she was more concerned with her offense, but as she grew, she learned to include her teammates more, making her a complete player. Mitchell is aggressive on defense, utilizing her agility to keep ahead of her opponents and disrupt their attacking flow. Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA is much anticipated as she prepares to make her debut. Her academic success has already elevated her to an elite company, and many expect her to be a game changer on the professional level. The possibility of Clark competing against experienced WNBA talents like Kelsey Mitchell adds an interesting element to the league. Fans are excited to watch how Clark's unique skill set will transfer against the world's finest defenders and how she will improve the performance of her future squad. Clark's debut in the WNBA is crucial not just for her own career, but also for the league as a whole. The exposure she received during her college years has helped to increase awareness of women's basketball, and her participation in the WNBA is anticipated to improve the league's appeal even more.
Realizes it. Clark trying to take her defender, pulls up and hits from the mid-range, 20 points.
While Clark's WNBA debut is greatly anticipated, Kelsey Mitchell's reputation in the league continues to grow. Mitchell is already 3 years into her professional career and has established herself as one of the WNBA's finest offensive players. Her steady scoring and leadership on the court have made her a vital member of the Indiana Fever, and she shows no signs of slowing down. Mitchell's impact in the WNBA extends beyond just scoring points. She has become a mentor to younger players, guiding the future generation of stars, such as Caitlin Clark, who will shortly join the league. Mitchell's expertise and leadership are critical to the development of the league's future stars, and she continues to set a standard for what it takes to achieve at the top level of female basketball.
So just trying to force the pace, pull up three.
As Caitlin Clark joins the WNBA, she and Kelsey Mitchell will undoubtedly face off on the floor. These clashes are guaranteed to be exciting, as both players have great offensive abilities and a competitive intensity that motivates them to perform at their best. While Clark's approach is more focused on playmaking and adaptability, Mitchell's sheer scoring ability provides a unique challenge to any opponent. Clark and Mitchell's competition, although heated on the court, is likely to be characterized by mutual respect. Both athletes have overcome enormous challenges to reach the pinnacle of their respective sports, and they understand the commitment and hard work required to achieve at the professional level. This admiration will be visible in their confrontations as they push each other to new heights and elevate the WNBA's level of competitiveness.
NBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and
Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell's participation in the WNBA ushers in a new era for women's basketball. As the league's popularity grows, athletes like Clark and Mitchell are at the vanguard of that transformation.
Their distinct skill sets, competitive spirit, and ability to interact with fans make them ideal ambassadors for the league's future.
And you know what that is? Kudos to her, because that means not only has she been putting in the work behind the scenes, but that means
The effect of these two athletes extends beyond their on-court performances. Both Clark and Mitchell have utilized their platforms to promote women's sports and encourage the next generation of female athletes. Their effect can be seen in the increased number of young girls who pick up a basketball and hope to one day play in the WNBA. Clark and Mitchell are creating history together, which is crucial in terms of representation. As the WNBA fights for more exposure and equality in the world of sports, the success of players like Clark and Mitchell contributes to the ongoing discussion about the value of women's sports and the need for increased funding and support. Looking forward, Caitlin Clark's future in the WNBA seems very promising.
rookie from the Indiana Fever who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA.
She has all of the tools necessary to become one of the league's brightest lights. There will be an adjustment period as she moves from college to professional basketball, but Clark's skill and work ethic indicate that she will adapt quickly and prosper in the WNBA. Clark's ability to motivate her colleagues and improve those around her will be critical to her long-term success. As her game improves, it's not difficult to envision her guiding her team to several playoff berths and maybe a title.
when you're at that position, the point guard position, and you're leading the charge, you have to figure things out.
But all I was hearing...
Kelsey Mitchell sees the future as ongoing domination in the WNBA. Mitchell, who is now at the peak of her career, has already established herself as one of the league's top offensive players. As she continues to improve her game and take on additional leadership responsibilities, she will undoubtedly be a key figure in the WNBA for many years to come.
And offensively be more involved here.
Aaliyah Boston is one of the elite post players in this league. She needs to get touches down low in the...
Mitchell's ability to score at will, along with her developing playmaking abilities, make her a tough challenge for any opponent. As the league evolves, Mitchell will be at the forefront, paving the way for the next generation of WNBA players. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell's past together demonstrates their talent, tenacity, and passion for the game of basketball. While their paths have been different, they have each had a significant effect on women's basketball, and their presence in the WNBA is helping to define the league's future.
And that's the way to push the ball in transition.
Oh, that's not gonna waste much time. Caitlin Clark has...
As Clark starts her professional career and Mitchell builds on her already great reputation, the WNBA is in capable hands. These two athletes symbolize the pinnacle of women's basketball, and their contributions will be felt for years to come. Whether as opponents or teammates, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are creating history, and their careers are far from done.
Clark has space, she's gonna let it fly, and she's gonna connect!
Caitlin Clark is unstoppable in the WNBA right now, and it appears that no matter what occurs, she rises to the occasion. Clark's recent move has dramatically altered the league landscape, leaving fans, pundits, and even her detractors stunned. The same people who formerly mocked her or questioned her talents are now faced with the inescapable truth. Caitlin Clark is unstoppable. Every move she makes and every game she plays leaves the WNBA in awe, but her most recent accomplishment elevated it to a new level. It was more than just a game-changing performance. It was a cultural event, a seismic shift that had her critics scurrying for an explanation.
Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41%.
Caitlin Clark has been a superstar since her undergraduate days, captivating admirers with her tremendous range, precision playmaking, and unwavering confidence. Her supremacy on the basketball court began early, but what makes her path even more astounding is her ability to turn every doubt, struggle, and criticism into fuel for her never-ending desire to be the best. Clark's outstanding performance at the University of Iowa, where she led her team to multiple triumphs, demonstrated that she was destined for greatness. However, shifting to the WNBA brought its own set of expectations and challenges.
Red hot. They've been ice cold since that first quarter. Clark way outside. You bet!
The WNBA is populated by great athletes who have competed at the highest level for years. And for Clark, entering this environment meant demonstrating that she could not only hold her own, but also dominate. She dominated. Clark's transition to the WNBA went more smoothly than most rookies. She had an immediate impact, demonstrating that she was more than just a brilliant player. She was a game changer. However, as popularity grows, critics emerge, and Clark was no exception. Despite her apparent brilliance, Caitlin Clark has endured her fair share of criticism. Clark has come under severe criticism for a variety of reasons, including her confident demeanor on the court, her abrasive playing style, and the fact that she constantly performs at a level that others find difficult to match. Some have criticized her for being overly confident or bold, while others have questioned her capacity to continue her success over time. Clark, however, has always responded to criticism by allowing her game to speak for itself. Her ability to soar above the fray has been nothing short of astounding. While some athletes may crumble under the weight of continual media scrutiny and fan expectations, Clark appears to revel in it. Every unfavorable comment or doubt seems to inspire her to prove others wrong, which she has done throughout her WNBA career.
That's putting up some buckets.
It sure was. Top 4 scorers at the college level here in this one. As
Clark just did something that hushed her detractors while also sending shockwaves around the league. Clark set many records in a single game, delivering a masterpiece that left even her opponents in awe. It wasn't just the number of points she scored or how she dominated on both ends of the court. It was how she did it, with poise, confidence, and precision, that drew everyone's attention. Clark not only performed admirably in this game, but she also redefined what it meant to be a WNBA superstar. Her ability to dictate the pace of the game, make impossible shots appear easy, and involve her teammates at the right times exhibited a level of basketball intelligence that many had never seen before. Caitlin Clark was clearly playing to make a statement, not just to win.
Foul knows it's important not to pick up the second because she got 2 in the first quarter against Connecticut.
Clark connects on a 3.
She made a statement. By the end of the game, Clark had broken multiple records, including the most points scored in a single game by a WNBA player. Fans were ecstatic, social media exploded, and sports analysts couldn't stop talking about her performance. While many people were celebrating Clark's historic night, there was one group that wasn't so happy: her critics.
Where all the people that Stephen A? Oh, she don't do this. She not gonna do that. Let her cook. Let her.
Caitlin Clark's critics, or bullies, reacted quickly. However, rather than recognizing Clark's greatness, many of them doubled down on their critiques, accusing her of being overly flashy or condescending to her opponents. They said that her record-breaking performance was motivated by ego rather than skill. Some even argued that Clark's dominance was detrimental to the league, making the WNBA less competitive.
Diggins, Fake Smith, her last name, she bumped into her, sped up. Let her cook. But if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'd have told...
These comments, of course, were unfounded. Clark's achievement was about more than just individual triumph. It was about pushing the limits of what is possible in sport. However, for some, watching a young, confident athlete like Clark succeed was too much to bear. Her success, in their eyes, represented a threat to the established system, and rather than celebrating her accomplishments, they chose to undermine her. Clark, as always, remained unmoved. She did not respond to the abuse or engage with her critics. Instead, she allowed her game to speak for itself. In doing so, she once again demonstrated why she is one of the league's most entertaining and brilliant players. Caitlin Clark's climb to popularity is more than simply a personal triumph. It can transform the WNBA as a whole. For years, the league has struggled with visibility and respect, frequently being overshadowed by its male counterpart, the National Basketball Association. However, with players like Clark creating headlines and attracting new fans, the WNBA is beginning to receive the recognition it deserves.
And stop other teams from scoring.
Well, last year Indiana was 10th in pace. Christy Sides telling us Clark rattles her second three.
Clark's triumph has energized the league. Fans eagerly await her next move, and her performances frequently make national headlines. In some ways, Clark is helping to break the mold of what fans anticipate from the WNBA. She demonstrates that women's basketball can be as thrilling, competitive, and entertaining as men's basketball, and sometimes even more so. But Clark's impact extends beyond the games. She has also established herself as a role model for young athletes, particularly young females who aspire to play professional basketball. Clark is pushing the next generation of players to chase their aspirations and push the limits of what is possible in the sport by demonstrating that it is possible to excel in the WNBA while doing so stylishly. Clark's influence extends beyond the court. Off the court, her influence is just as strong. Clark has become a cultural icon, heralding a new age in women's basketball that values confidence, talent, and personality. Clark's unabashed attitude has struck a chord with both fans and sportsmen in a sport where players are frequently supposed to be meek and reserved.
League and assist her last 5 games, Shannon. 22.5 points per game on 46% shooting, 11.4 assists per game.
Her social media following has skyrocketed, with millions of people tuning in to see her most recent postings, interviews, and highlights. She's more than simply a basketball player. She's a brand, and her appeal goes far beyond the sport. Major brands are lined up to collaborate with her, recognizing that Clark symbolizes the future of women's sports, and that her influence will only expand in the coming years. Clark's most major cultural impact, however, has been her ability to change the narrative about women's basketball. For far too long, the WNBA has been ridiculed or overlooked, with many sports fans viewing it as a subpar imitation of the NBA. However, Clark's performances, together with the ascent of other brilliant players, are helping to shift that narrative. Caitlin Clark is leading the effort as more people realize the WNBA is full of great athletes capable of playing at an extremely high level.
5, and now the Indiana Fever are 7th place overall and in playoff positioning. Caitlin Clark is real. She's coming, and I still...
With each passing game, it becomes increasingly evident that Caitlin Clark is only getting started. At only 23 years old, she has already accomplished more than many players do in their whole careers, and there is no telling how much more she will achieve in the coming years. Her mix of skill, confidence, and work ethic has put her on the path to greatness, and if no big setbacks occur, she might go down as one of the greatest WNBA players of all time.
At the 3, Boston the rebound, getting her first minutes. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, what a dime from Clark!
Beyond individual achievements, Clark can revolutionize the game itself. Clark is contributing to the WNBA's growth by pushing the boundaries of what is possible on the court and motivating a new generation of players. The league is already seeing a surge in viewership and fan engagement, thanks in large part to players like Clark, who are making the game more thrilling and accessible to a larger audience. As she continues to break records and defy expectations, one thing is certain: Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA is only beginning. Caitlin Clark's rise from collegiate basketball standout to WNBA superstar has been nothing short of remarkable. She's had her fair share of critics and doubters along the way, but she's always been able to rise above the fray and let her talent shine through. Her latest record-breaking achievement reflected years of hard work, devotion, and an unwillingness to let others define her success.
I'm not quite sure who is benefiting. I guess you have to say the Wings right now because they're up.
Clark turned the corner,
but then again, here comes...
While her bullies may continue to celebrate her success, there's no doubt that Caitlin Clark is here to stay. Her impact on the WNBA, both on and off the court, is evident, and the league benefits from her continued ability to set records and redefine what it means to be a superstar. Caitlin Clark has revolutionized the game, and she is only just getting started.
The WNBA has always been very competitive, with players putting their heart and soul into every game. But lately, the discussion surrounding the MVP award has reached a fever pitch. A'ja Wilson, one of the WNBA's brightest talents, went off on what she sees as a tremendous injustice in the MVP race: Caitlin Clark's rejection of the prize title. What followed was nothing short of explosive, as A'ja Wilson launched a rage, sending shockwaves across the WNBA and its fandom.
Kelsey Plum playing Caitlin Clark, no catch, meaning she's not trying to let her get it back.
In this video, we'll explore the events that occurred, including why A'ja Wilson lost her cool and the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark's rejection. So brace up as we discuss what may be one of the most dramatic moments in WNBA history. To understand why A'ja Wilson's response was so strong, we must first accept her role in the WNBA. Since being selected as the first overall choice by the Las Vegas Aces in 2018, A'ja has been nothing short of exceptional. Her aggressive playing style, ability to dominate in the paint, and leadership characteristics have earned her a household name. Wilson, a two-time MVP and Olympic gold medalist, has constantly been in contention for the league's top honors. Wilson's intense competition and constant desire for achievement distinguish her as a great athlete. However, they also led to her angry response to Caitlin Clark's elimination from the MVP contest. Wilson's aggravation spilled out in a spectacular fashion as he understood the pressure and grandeur of winning the MVP award.
Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating A'ja Wilson for the MVP.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has been surging to the forefront of the WNBA discourse. Clark was drafted by the Indiana Fever and joined the league with lofty hopes, and she has not disappointed. Caitlin Clark, known for her exceptional shooting range, court awareness, and ability to score from nearly anywhere, has made a significant impact in her first season. Many fans and commentators anticipated her not only to win Rookie of the Year, but also to be a strong contender for MVP.
A little step-up action right here.
Boston gets it back to Clark, sidesteps Howard, she will launch and knock down a three.
Clark's ability to perform well under pressure distinguishes her from other athletes. Whether it's hitting three-pointers from beyond the arc or providing clutch assists, she's constantly shown she can carry her team through the most difficult games. Despite this, Caitlin Clark's outstanding accomplishments did not transfer into MVP accolades this season, which has prompted great criticism, particularly among players such as A'ja Wilson.
The WNBA, she's just the fourth player to shoot at least 70% from three-point range on at least 20 three-point attempts.
The WNBA MVP award is one of the most coveted in the league. The award is given to the player regarded most important to their team's success, which is frequently determined by a mix of individual numbers, team performance, and on-court leadership. This year, however, the battle for MVP got acrimonious, with players, fans, and pundits all disputing who should win the title.
Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating A'ja Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese.
A'ja Wilson was once again in contention for MVP following another outstanding season. However, many believe that Caitlin Clark, despite being a rookie, had played at an MVP caliber level, making her a viable contender for the title.